Hey, welcome back. I'm Professor Floor. Thanks for staying with me. Okay, what you're watching this semester are actually last semester's videos, primarily because students said they liked those videos. However, the feedback from last semester was we didn't like how you, Professor Floor, made us use Notepad instead of Visual Studio to edit files. So, I'm giving you the option of using Visual Studio to edit your files. And I'll show you how to do that now. I think last semester it wasn't until week 6 or week 8 that I let students use Visual Studio. Let's say you copied your week 3 into week 4 and you want to use Visual Studio instead of Notepad to edit your files. How do you do that? Well, hit the Windows key on your keyboard, type Visual, or start typing Visual Studio, select Visual Studio 2013 you should have. Okay, and then wait for it to run. And then here's a trick. Here's how you go to your folder. You say File, Open, Website. Okay, so File, Open, Website, and then browse to your folder. I told you guys to put your folder in Documents or on the desktop. Mine is in Documents, Teaching. I put mine in some weird folder. Documents, Teaching, Management 330. Let's say we're in week 4. You copied week 3 to week 4, so you just make sure that's highlighted, or whatever week you're in, and then you say Open. Okay, and then it'll bring up your entire folder. You'll be able to see it on the right once it finishes. See, so here's that folder. Like last semester, I had you just bring up the folder in the in this folder view. But as you can see, you can also bring it up in Visual Studio. So if I can make this smaller. So here's the folder view, but in Visual Studio, here are all your files. And you can click on, say, Index, or double click, and it'll show up here. And if we want to run it, you have your choice of browsers. I like Internet Explorer, and you can just click Run, and it'll show up. Well, it takes a while the first time you run it, but see, it says Build Started, and then it should pop up the browser. But while it's waiting to pop up, and it takes a long time the first time, but while it's waiting to pop up, oh, yeah, you're going to get this, and again, this is just the first time. Debugging not enabled, add a new web.config, just click OK. All right, and then now it pops up your file. How come it's doing milcalc4? I didn't tell it to do milcalc4. Hold on. With this up, run index. Then you can go to all your files like before. You can go back. But anytime you want to, you stop. Anytime you want to bring up a file, you just double click on it. See, and it shows up. Here's milcalc index. Here's milcalc4. If you want to copy a file, I think you can just highlight it. Let's say we want to make a copy of last week's milcalc and call it milcalc4a. You highlight it over here, then you, on your keyboard, do Control-C, Control-V, and see now you have a copy. And then I can right-click, rename milcalc4a. And again, this just makes it easier. If I go back to the folder, see, here's a milcalc4a. I didn't have that before. I just created it. So everything we're doing in the folder view, you can do inside of Visual Studio. Then you're going, okay, but why should I care about doing it in Visual Studio? And the answer is, if you make a mistake, like let's say you forget a closing brace or closing parentheses. So you get this red squiggly down here. So you know it gives you an indication of where the bug is. Or let's say down here you forget to close off a bracket, which is very common, right? See, you get this squiggly, this time it's green, saying there's a potential error, and if you hover over it, element tag is missing close angle bracket. So you add it, okay, and there it is. So it just makes it easier to find your bugs. Okay, let's say you forget to close. Also, you can see when tags match up. I forgot to show that. See when I highlight body, you see the corresponding body. Same thing with span. If I highlight span, it shows where the closing tag is. So it's really helpful for when you make these. They're known as syntax errors, when you forget to type things or you type the wrong thing. You'll get a visual indication. All right. So I know that's kind of long, but this will help you tremendously. That's what students told me last semester. So instead of introducing Visual Studio as an editor in week 6 or week 8, I forget which one it was, I'm introducing it now. Now, what happens if you lose this window? Let me just show you one more thing, because often students start Xing out things. It's like, oh no, where's my Solution Explorer where I pick files? And the answer is you closed it. So how do you get it back? Window. And then go to Windows. Oops, sorry. You have to reset the layout. So it's Window, Reset Window Layout. I'm sorry. So Window, Reset Window Layout. And then it shows up again. Okay? So I hope you enjoy using Visual Studio instead of just Notepad. If you just want to use Notepad, that's fine. But if you have a bug and you can't find it, you're missing a closing tag, you misspelled something, let's say you forget the star, you'll find it. It'll give you a visual indicator. And let's see, any other thing? If you see an asterisk near the file name, it means it hasn't been saved, so you had to go File, Save All, or Save MilCalc4. The star goes away. And if you want to run any file, you just highlight the tab and you click Run. You can also just go to index.html, run that. So whatever tab's highlighted is what shows up, and then go to your mill calculator or your sales calculator. Okay, so I guess that's it for Visual Studio. Feel free to use it. But in the videos, I'm going to be showing how to use it with just Notepad.